Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the Woke Bros. Of course, I'm your co-host, Big Wos, aka Wosny Lambre, and I'm joined as always by my brother on the west side of Los Angeles, Nando Vila. What's going on, man?
How's it going, man? Fucking getting ready for Thanksgiving. Are you going anywhere?
No, I'm gonna be here in LA. Nice. I got a Friendsgiving on Sunday.
Fuck yeah.
So looking forward to that, and then I'm gonna do Thanksgiving with my buddy and his wife, who are, they're East Coasters, but they're staying in LA. Nice. I got a cousin who lives in San Diego who's gonna drive up to hang out with us. So, gonna do that. Are you going to Miami?
No, I'm going to Europe. In Europe.
Ah, fancy pants. Yeah. Gonna be getting into lots of trouble over there. Right. I hope.
Hell yeah, always.
So on today's show, man, not a crazy amount of news outside of obviously what's happening abroad in the Middle East with the atrocities being committed by the Israeli army in their retaliation against Hamas and the Palestinian people. But, I think just monitoring this UAW stuff, I think is pretty interesting. Jacobin's coverage has been incredible. Just want to talk about a couple of things on that side. But first, man, this spat between this congressman, what's his first name? His last name is Mullen. What's his first name? Senator.
Markwayne. Markwayne. Yeah, he's
Markwayne Mullen.
Yeah, but not
what
two
state
words.
Is he
from Oklahoma, but it's Markwayne, not two words. It's one word.
So it's him and... No, okay, I'm an idiot. Elizabeth Warren is from Oklahoma, but she's a Massachusetts senator. I'm like, wait, hold on.
Yes.
This is like,
yes, yeah.
So this
because Markwayne Mullen is the second member of the second citizen of the Cherokee Nation to be elected to the Senate.
The first being Elizabeth Warren, right?
Yes, that's a fact. Yes, I'm not looking that up. I'm not looking it up. That's a fact.
She lied about being Indian. That is crazy. Do
you remember the video of Trump with like the 200-year-old Native Americans who were the wind talkers in World War II? They were World War II vets. Remember that movie, The Wind Talkers? They were like these Native Americans that they used like their native language to do codes in World War II.
I'm not familiar with this. No.
Whatever. It's like based on a true story, and some of those guys are still alive, or at least were when Trump was president, and they looked fucking old as shit, because you can imagine they were World War II veterans.
Right.
And they're doing some sort of ceremony at the White House. I'll find the video and we can splice it in later, but they're doing some sort of ceremony at the White House, and Trump is like, you're very beautiful people. We love you. You were here first. You were here first, along with... another senator they call Pocahontas.
You and Senator Pocahontas are the First Nations, are part of the First Nations of this land. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And so Sean O'Brien of the Teamsters, obviously we covered the Teamsters and the UPS's landmark contract. Just an incredible win for obviously the Teamsters, but workers everywhere. They were up at Capitol Hill. Under what auspices? Like, what was the point of this guy being up there?
So it was a hearing on. It was a hearing on the kind of like some sort of labor committee that Bernie is the chair of. And it basically was meant to discuss, the latest events with the UAW and the Teamsters, and Bernie was trying to like bring them on to the Senate to have them talk about their strike actions and their negotiations, and to show how, organized labor really delivers the goods. So they were there at some hearing, and it was called like I think it was called like the HELP committee, and it was like one of those acronyms. I'll look it up now, but it was just like one of these kind of many hearings that happens in the Senate at any given moment. And this one, it says Bernie trying to get those guys in the Senate floor, just trying to get them FaceTime with senators to talk about what it is they've been up to.
Yeah. And so again, this is just like, all right, you guys did this great thing for American workers. Let's get you up there. But John Wayne Mullen had other ideas as he's on this panel. And Jerv, if you could, so we want to show you what he did on this panel if you haven't already seen it. But just know that the guy went on a fucking victory tour afterwards. So please cue that up for us, Jerv.
Senator, I got to be honest. I don't think this is going to hurt you with the people of Oklahoma. I think popularity probably will go up tenfold as a result of that. He called you out. You called him out for calling you out. And that's kind of old school the way it used to be, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it is. And in Oklahoma, people tell me, I've had media come up to me and says, this isn't coming of a senator. I was like, listen, I'm a guy from Oklahoma first. In Oklahoma, you don't do this. Maybe you run your mouth in New Jersey. I don't know. I'm not from New Jersey, but this is some thug. That's a mob boss, and you're supposed to be intimidating because he's the boss of the Teamsters. And he's got away with this. He's got suspended by his own Teamsters before for intimidation. He's been in trouble multiple times. He in 2022, he said he wanted to bring a mob mentality back to the Teamsters. Maybe that's true, but you still aren't going to run your mouth at me and expect me to just sit there. And you should have seen the fear of his eyes when I stood up, too. I'm not joking. I'm not looking for a fight. I used to get paid to fight professionally. I'm not really looking for it, but I'm sure not going to sit back and let somebody do that and not call them out on it.
Well, let me tell you, I love these people on social media. I call them the keyboard warriors, usually in their basement. Basement bunkers, in their underwear, and they're all tough on social media. Then you call them out on it. They're not so tough. It is interesting, though, when you think of the left today, if you use the wrong pronoun in school, boy, the left will absolutely lose it.
Hold on, Jerv.
When I grew up, it was a little bit of a different time. When me and my friends, when we played.
Because I found the original I found the original actual footage of this guy.
I love how he's just like, I love how he's just talking about Sean O'Brien. He's like, oh, he's just a mob boss, like as if he was fucking, like Jimmy Hoffa in The Irishman, like whacking people and shit. Like, come on.
He's bringing that mentality here.
Yeah.
Hold on. I don't know why it's not popping up. I don't know if you. There you go. Hold up. Let me. Because you guys get
coming from statistics. All right. Now let's talk about Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior. As everybody knows, and it's here. And the last time, him and I kind of had a back and forth. Appreciate your demeanor today. It's quite different. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. Sorry, I wish he was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company myself. And my wife was running the office because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy.
Hold on. Hold on. First of all, Nando, I love the idea of this northeastern cat calling an Oklahoman a cowboy.
Yokel. Yeah, like a fucking country yokel. This fucking Okie.
Click your heels, Okie. Yeah. We got time for your bitch ass today.
This is kind of old school. I like this like white on white crime between like a fucking Mick from the Northeast and some fucking like hayseed from Oklahoma. Like I love it.
And he's from New England, I believe. Which by the
Sean
way,
O'Brien?
like
yeah, I think he's from Boston.
Yeah, those dudes fight.
Oh yeah.
Like, these are I went to school. That will fight.
I went to school in Boston. I had a couple moments there where I was like, oh, this shit could fucking turn ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Senator Mullen, you can tell he's getting really riled up now. The cowboy part, he could tell that like this city slicker was like trying to get in his ass. And we continue on.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. You want to run your mouth? We can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
No, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Look at you. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it. If we can, no, I have the mic. I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have
I don't like
the
you
right-
because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it. Come on.
All right,
Just stay.
then let's do this, because I did challenge you and I accepted your challenge and you went quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet.
Hold on.
You challenged me to a cage match,
No, no,
acting
no.
like a
Sir.
12-year-old schoolyard
Hold it.
bully.
Excuse me.
Hold on.
Hold it. No, excuse me.
I will say exactly.
Senator Mullen, I have the mic. You have questions on any economic issues, anything that said, go for it. We're not here to talk about physical abuse.
You brought.
We're not talking about, of course I
And
do.
let me show you his hearing, because I want to expose this thug to who he is.
If you're not pointing at me, that's disrespectful.
Oh man, this is just too good.
So good. So the thing is, like, this guy Markwayne with one word, went on Hannity and he made it seem like O'Brien was just like talking shit right to his face, and like you know he had no choice but to stand up. But this guy like went out of his way to print out some fucking tweets, read them out loud, and then challenge him. It was like, you know, like O'Brien's tweets. I mean, I don't know. I guess you can construe it as a challenge to fight, but I think he was just more like we should just like meet and talk it out like face to face, like instead of just I don't know, like and I think he was a little surprised, O'Brien, when he was like, "Oh, you mean like?" He's like, this is a time and place. Like, we can do it right now. He's like, yeah, sure, let's do it right now. I don't think he meant like,
real, like you don't want to discuss why what I do is worthwhile, and people like you are you know dick sucking assholes. Like it's but clearly this Mullen dude, you know, he's got his MMA certificate. He's been in an official cage match fight. Yeah. He clearly wants to demonstrate like I fight. I can fight. I could beat this dude up. And in his pointing, he's basically cutting a wrestling promo for those of you at home who used to watch WWE, WCW, ECW. But we continue on.
All right. I don't care about respecting you at all. I
don't respect you at all.
So
all right, hold it. No.
You don't want to
hold it.
The most
hold
elite
it,
people.
please.
Act it.
Please. All right. This is excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hearing to discuss economic issues. All right. If you have questions for Mr. O'Brien or anybody else on what he has said, go for it. But we're not here to talk about fights or anything else.
I'm quoting exactly what he said.
You can say what you want.
This is your witness you brought. And let me. I'm exposing him.
You can
as
talk
him.
So in 2013, in 2013, O'Brien was suspended by the Teamsters for intimidating your own members. In 2014, you were part of, what would you say, organizing the harassment, intimidation of the Top Shelf crew.
Chef, not chef.
Top Chef. Okay. And then, and I think in the reports they said sexual, racist, and homophobic slurs and death threats. 14 tires were sliced, and 5 Teamsters were arrested. And you said, well, I had nothing to do with it. But however, in that same statement, you said, but if I get called to testify, I'll plead the fifth. This is a witness you brought in here. In 2017, you were removed as lead negotiator by then President Hoffa for UPS for your actions. And then in 22, when this guy was elected, what he said after he got elected was he wanted to bring the mob mentality back to the Teamsters. This is your guy.
And you're obviously going to give him a chance to respond to your questions.
Absolutely, because this is my question. Because you called me out. I didn't call you out.
You did.
You said anytime, any place.
Let's get the record straight.
Miss, hold it. No.
Hold on.
Senator Mullen, do you have a question for the witness?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, anytime, any place.
No, that's
April is a charity event.
No, that's not.
He wants to fight this guy for charity.
He is here to
set parameters on what the questions can or cannot be asked, and I'll ask.
No, you're not going to. We're not going to be talking about physical confrontation.
Oh, this is about charity, for a union charity, because this is for firefighters.
You have a question on his testimony?
April.
Grow up, please.
You have
grow
a
up.
question on his. Let's not be.
You said it.
You're an embarrassment.
You said
You're
it,
an
and I'm just
embarrassment.
simply answering it.
You reached out to
hold
me,
it.
buddy.
Hold it. Senator Mullen, you made some charges. Mr. O'Brien, do you want to respond to
Yeah, go ahead,
the question?
please.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality of it is,
Accept my challenge,
Mr.
tough guy.
Mullen, tough guy.
Hold it. Answer the questions.
All right, y'all won. He
Please.
made a lot of statements, right? And his statements are fiction at best.
Fiction, I read them.
Can you
What?
answer the question, please?
I can't understand.
The UPS guy in the
He
back
rambles
is
so
killing
much.
me.
What was your question, actually?
Well, you said I made a lot of statements.
No, but what's your question? I don't understand your question. Could you repeat it?
You said anytime, any place.
What's your question?
Accept the challenge.
Challenge.
You said anytime, any place. I'm accepting yours, so why don't you come
What
back?
challenge? What challenge are you talking
April
about?
30th. How about we do it for a charity at the Smoking Guns in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
We're not going to be
what was the
talking about
challenge?
physical
What are you talking
confrontations
You
here.
want to fight me?
What'd you say by anytime, any place?
Let's have coffee, discuss our differences.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
All right, well, let's not have
Let's do it. I'd love to.
But
It's
the
funny how you're back.
Okay.
I don't back on anything.
You did.
You're the one. You're a 100.
Senator,
Should be the most influential people in this country making changes.
Senator
You're
Hassett.
focused on.
Okay.
You're
Thank
focused
you.
on
Why did
debate
you-
that's not even
Why-
relevant. You're an embarrassment.
Senator,
You're an
Listen.
embarrassment.
They went silence after
You're an
after
embarrassment to the
text.
state of
this
Oklahoma.
hearing is about the condition of the working class in America.
You
That's
brought
what
a
we're
thug
talking.
into this-
You're the biggest thug here.
You brought him in.
All right,
You're the
being-
biggest thug. Even
Look,
your
I don't know
colleagues call you.
why you do what you're doing, Senator Hassett.
Thank you very much.
Dude, this is like
Oh my God. This is the US Senate, y'all.
I never really thought about
my
the
goodness.
potential of an MMA fighter making it to the U.S. Senate, but I didn't even know that this. I had never heard of this guy
Yeah.
before
same.
this thing. So I guess he's doing a good job in making himself known. But he is an MMA fighter, and it's like his
Yes.
top issue is like MMA issues. Like, I was just reading at his Wikipedia, under the political positions section. The first one that comes up is regulation of mixed martial arts. Mullen wants to extend federal boxing regulations to the practices of mixed martial arts businesses, such as Ultimate Fighting Championship. His 2016 proposed legislation would have forced the UFC to share financial information with fighters and create an independent ranking system. So, that's like that's what he's in the Senate for, is to regulate MMA.
This is nuts. This is nuts, dude. How many MMA guys probably exist in the country? Like 10,000, maybe? Like
Tops,
dudes who are
yeah.
like really pursuing this professionally, like in a country of 330 million. This is what this guy is up there to do. I just had to play that because this guy really got up, fixed his ring. Like he was really like, yo, I will fight you.
Yeah.
On the Senate floor, like on the floor of this hearing. And Sean O'Brien is like, this is clownish behavior, but just completely hilarious, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's again like it's just goes to show, I mean, just how shambolic the American political system has become. I mean, I guess you could argue, yes, I know, before you tweet at me, Thaddeus Stevens was beaten on the Senate floor.
We get it. Who cares?
We get it. Who cares? There weren't cameras back then,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, but it is cool, I think, in a way, to see the fact that we have these two labor leaders now who aren't just part of the system, like they're not just like cogs in the machine the way labor leaders have been for decades. Like between Sean Fain, the UAW head, and Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters head, they actually are guys who are down not to fight physically, but to literally fight for their union in a way that just it hasn't happened in American politics in a long time. When's the last time you saw a union leader make waves in anything? They're just their mandate was always to just like keep quiet, keep their head down, make a deal, and move on. And like these guys aren't going to do that. They're gonna ruffle some feathers, and they're gonna incur the wrath of the political class, because there's nothing that a political class that is captured by capital, and both parties are 100% captured by capital. There's nothing that really throws them off more than a powerful labor leader. So, yeah, I mean, it's just hilarious. They don't know how to deal with it either. So like they're just resorting to old tricks that used to work like 50 years ago. accusing them of being ties to the mafia. Like, does the mafia even exist anymore? Like, in what universe? Like, does like in New York, is the mafia still like an actual thing? I mean, I'm sure
it's
they
a
still
thing,
exist.
but it's not. They're not making
like
all
running
this money
things.
from all kinds, every single freaking union shop in the city. They're not siphoning off of funds from like literally every union. The electricians union, the freaking carpenters union, like every union. These guys had their hands in their pockets, and they could price fix, and they could do all kinds of crazy shit and money schemes. Like, it's not like that anymore. They're not as prevalent as they used to be. But, it's just hilarious to even invoke that as like this old timey, like, oh, these union guys, they're mobbed up, say they're pretty corrupt, say. Like, it's such a passe way of describing it. But, again, we keep talking about this labor activity because they're the only ones moving the needle at all for American workers at the moment, which brings us to the UAW. And they're going to try to unionize Tesla. Obviously, if you have a car, if you've been in the market for a car, you realize that the future is electric vehicles. And many of the all-electric vehicle companies that have just popped up in the U.S., Tesla being number one, are non-unionized shops. And obviously, the UAW understands that in order for survival and to grow in influence, they need to unionize these electric car companies. They've taken strides with the big three to unionize the next fleet of electric cars, which was obviously a big ass deal because, again, the future is electric. But Tesla is a whole different ball of wax. And I want to read something from Jacobin, this according to a source with Bloomberg who's familiar with the efforts of UAW to penetrate Tesla, specifically here in California, where they have their biggest car plant. The UAW has committed to providing whatever resources are necessary for the campaign. That campaign will be a war with most likely playing a role similar to that of Howard Schultz at Starbucks. Both corporate leaders remain closely involved with the companies they founded, and Musk is more openly antagonistic to worker organizing than even Schultz was before his employees began their organizing drive. He also has a higher tolerance for bad press. Last year, Musk tweeted, "A union is just another corporation." And he fired dozens of workers at Tesla facility in New York the day the news broke of their organizing drive with Workers United, which represents Starbucks workers. So, like, this is a big deal, man. And again, this is where the next fight is. And part of why they could get all of these concessions, guys, is because they had all three automakers had unionized shops, meaning they could exert pressure on any individual one if somebody tried to act, out of step. And again, once they got a win for one plant, the other company had to hurry up and get on board because they were getting beat to the punch when work started at these other companies, right? And so the same truth holds for these electric car companies. Like, it's only going to make the union stronger. But man, obviously we see how hard Jeff Bezos has been fighting what they've been trying to put together at Amazon. We know Elon is going to go just as fucking hard. Yeah.
No, and listen, the Tesla and Amazon probably are the two golden goose companies in terms of unionization efforts. They are right at the heart of the future of the American economy and the current state of the American economy. Like, the Starbucks labor campaign was amazing and super inspiring, but like at the end of the day, it's just there's just coffee shops, The manufacturing of electric vehicles, of which Tesla is still the leader, is the future of manufacturing in America and the world. And obviously Amazon is kind of the defining corporation of our current existence. It's just like its touch points in all our lives are almost impossible to fathom. The amount of packages we ship every single day from Amazon, the amount of retail that passes through Amazon. the amount of like the amount of our internet that exists on Amazon web servers. Like Amazon is really kind of the one corporation undergirding the American economy, and for that to be unionized would be an absolute game changer. And as you said, Tesla is the future of auto manufacturing, transportation, in many ways. And if that shop gets unionized, well, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, and part of the pressure that the Teamsters could exert against UPS is just how much of the economy flows through that damn company, right? And so the idea that there would be a work stoppage at such an integral part of the logistical movement of our economy is a big deal. Like, that's big pressure for the bosses to cater to their demands. That's like, just think about Amazon and what that would mean for their workers to be able to have the power to shut down the economy if they don't get fair wages and conditions at their place of employment. Like, it would mean everything for that to happen. So yeah, man, that's just the kind of thing we want to keep you guys abreast of. But last thing before we get you out of here, Nando, you hit me up about a TV show that you're really excited about. I saw the commercials and I was like, I wonder what they're trying to do with this show. Like the previews don't really give you a good indication of the sort of tone or the direction of the show. But please talk up the show so the people can start watching this thing.
Show's called The Curse. You can find it on Showtime, Paramount Plus. It's Nathan Fielder's new show, and it's his first fully scripted show. You know, Nathan Fielder, famous for Nathan For You, and The Rehearsal, both kind of I would consider groundbreaking shows in each in their own right. You know, both incredibly innovative, hilarious, brilliant in many ways. Nathan Fielder, just one of the modern era's true creative and comedic geniuses. My man
Andy Greenwald's doppelganger.
That's right.
He's talked about being stopped in like Silver Lake and shit, and people thinking,
oh my God, that's gotta make him super annoyed.
Oh my God, bro. Yeah. Terrible.
And so his new show is a fully fictionalized show, in which he and Emma Stone play a recently married couple who have been given a pilot to film an HGTV type show, or literally an HGTV show called Flipanthropy, where they flip houses for charity, for good, you know, like in the community. And they're in this fictional southwestern community kind of outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, called Española, that's like impoverished, and, you know, like a lot of like poor Mexicans and a lot of, you know, poor like Somali immigrants and shit like that, you know, that it's like a very downtrodden place. And so they come in there, and they're these kind of good liberals who are going to help the community by redecorating their house and getting them jobs at local businesses that they encourage to, you know, that they give like subsidies to and shit like that. And so like, they're these kind of do-gooder liberals. And that what I think is just so brilliant about the satire of it, and so precise about the satire of it, is that it shows how the ideology of liberalism, which purports to, at least modern day liberalism, this wasn't so much the case back in the day, but certainly modern day liberalism thinks that there are solutions to society's problems, namely poverty, and, you know, lack of access to education and things like that, that can be achieved by never challenging the entrenched power of the ruling class, right? That it's just like there is some sort of solution in which, and Nathan Fielder says this like 2 or 3 times in the pilot, where he's like, everybody wins. Like, you guys get a job and a new house. I make money off my HGTV show, and this other business like also makes money, you know? And so like, that's his whole thing, is like, everybody wins, you know? Like in the pilot, like, and I won't spoil it, but like, they just keep fucking everything up. Like, they just like, you know, they're totally like, just from even on the surface level, they're totally paternalistic and cringe, you know, but on a fundamental level, like, they're actually gentrifying the community and, you know, all that shit. And like, at one point they get asked,
worse.
they're making things worse. Yeah, they're making things worse. And they do it in kind of all manner of hilarious ways. And they even get asked about like whether they're gentrifiers by a local news crew. And Nathan Fielder has a hilarious line where he goes like, "Well, let me tell you that we take the G word very seriously." Like, it's just like
perfect. That's them to a T. So yeah, go check out The Curse. Obviously, that speaks to our sensibilities. Oftentimes we find ourselves, and I think people, it's like a common like sort of refrain, like, man, you guys are harder on the liberals than conservatives. It's just like, what is there to say about a right winger? It's just all so obvious and on the page. Like, there's nothing to say. There's no commentary to add. Libs just continue to just crack us the fuck up, man. I swear to God.
They're so much more fun to make fun of. I mean, the Republicans, the right wingers, like, it's so fucking easy. Like, it's just like, what is there to say? They're monsters. I get it, like,
yes.
There's no analysis there. There's no interesting insight to be done. Like, they're just so plainly like.
They made a creationism museum in Kansas in which there's a statue of Jesus riding a dinosaur. Well, how? Like, what am I supposed to like? It's right there for you. I don't need to tell you why that's ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, go check out The Curse on Paramount Plus and Showtime. Make sure you're catching up. Stay in tune with the UAW and all their movements up at Jacobin.com. Shouts to my man Boschkar. Yeah, man, we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Later.